Hi everyone, Peter here. Welcome. We share real stories from real people. Let's start with the first story. WIBTA for divorcing my wife over accusing me of cheating on her. I 44, my wife Grace a 42. Fake names for obvious reasons, same for the throwaway account. Married 13 years, together 16. Quick plot, I met Grace around the time I got out of the military. It was during a hospital stay. I met her while I was there for surgery. She was a nurse on my floor, a single mom who'd been divorced for a few years. I left the military, went back to school, and now I work from home as a software engineer. We started dating, took things slow for the first few years because of her daughter, Maya, who was 5 at the time. Grace is still a nurse, and Maya is now in college. I could say up until last month that our marriage was pretty solid. We had our fights. I admit I was pretty bad about cleaning when we first moved in together because I wasn't used to how kids can just tear through a house. But other than that, it was good. No step-parent issues. I played an active role in Maya's life since her dad lives abroad for work. We went on dates. The intimacy was always great. We wanted kids, but that wasn't in the cards for us. Honestly, I was blindsided. I've had friends who got blindsided by divorce, but I never understood how. Usually, there are issues they ignore, and then suddenly, their wives leave them, and they had no idea it was coming. But the rest of us could see it coming from a mile away. So here I am saying the same thing, and maybe I just missed something huge. Grace has been more stressed than usual these past few months. Since COVID, she's been burned out, and I've asked her several times if she wanted to quit her job, at least for a few years. I thought the burnout was reaching a peak. She was withdrawing, angry. She kept snapping at me, lashing out at Maya over every little thing. But she's my wife. She was hurt by the pandemic, and both Maya and I sympathized. We'd be fine on my salary alone, so last month, I sat her down and offered again that she should quit and take some time to rest and heal. Then, everything exploded. She started yelling at me that she knew what I was up to. She'd known for months. She had proof. At first, I didn't know what she was talking about, but it didn't take long to realize she was accusing me of cheating. I won't lie, I was furious. I pulled out my phone, handed it to her, told her to look through it. I went and got my laptop, unlocked it, and told her to go through that too. The whole time she was screaming at me about some other woman. I don't have any traditional social media accounts. I follow lobster news, hacker stuff, and I have a Reddit account. I told her to check everything. No secret Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. No messages from anyone. I opened Discord, even Slack. Everything I could think of. But she wouldn't even look at it. She got angrier and angrier, then picked up my laptop and threw it. That's when I'd had enough and left. I went to my parents' house. The whole time, Grace kept texting, calling, and leaving increasingly deranged voicemails about the woman she knew I was with. When I got to my parents' house, I called her once and told her I needed a few days because I was too angry to talk to her. My sister called the next morning and said Grace had also called her multiple times to see if I was really there. After a few days, I called Grace to talk, and at first the conversation was productive. She apologized for throwing the laptop, but she said I made her mad because I was too calm. I told her I wasn't calm. I was furious at being accused of cheating on my wife, but I was trying to either talk it out or start yelling, which I didn't think was a good idea. Then she got mad, told me I was twisting her words, and things quickly fell apart. She kept saying over and over that she knew I was cheating, she had proof. I asked her what proof because I wanted to see it. I don't remember how we got there, but she said she'd send everything to a lawyer, and I said fine, send me a copy too because this isn't going anywhere. Then she went quiet and asked if I was serious, and I said I wasn't going to stay in a marriage where my wife thinks I'm cheating on her but won't tell me why. We ended the call there, and I've been at my parents' house ever since. My dad's on my side, my mom thinks Grace is just going through a hard time, and we can talk it out and get past this. My sister's mad at being dragged into this, so she thinks we're both assholes, and Maya's upset, torn between me and her mom. I feel like maybe I jumped the gun and should have been calmer. Edit. My morning meeting finally wrapped up, and I need to focus on work, so I'll be logging off for the day. I'll talk to my mom to see if she's spoken to Grace. Suggest therapy, couples therapy, etc. I think those of you pointing out that something's missing are right. Something is causing this. I just don't know if it's something I did, stress in her life, or just projection. I don't think it is. But you never know. I'll reassure Maya again that she has a place here no matter what. As far as I'm concerned, she's my daughter, and of course, she'll have a place here if she needs it. But I'm also not going to try to pressure her because that's her mom, and I know this is pulling her in two directions. Edit 2. Okay, I took a break and thought I'd come back and read a few comments, but there's too much to get through. But they have an overall theme, so I'll try to address them quickly here. Some of you asked if I did cheat. I understand why you'd ask that. I never outright stated it in the post, but let me assure you I didn't. I didn't cheat. I never have. Yes, that's just my word, and I'm sure some will think I'm lying. But I love my wife. I've never wanted to cheat. I'm not a saint, I'm attracted to people. I think Salma Hayek is gorgeous. But the thought of cheating has never crossed my mind. A lot of you think she's cheating on me. Again, I don't think so. She comes home every night at the same time. She doesn't hide her devices. Could there be someone at work? Sure. Do I think she's cheating? No. But as many of you have pointed out, those are famous last words. About the divorce/staying calm. I have PTSD. I've done a lot of work in therapy over the years to deal with intense emotions. That's why I stayed calm. Not because I'm naturally like that, but because if I don't, I get overwhelmed. The talk to my lawyer comment was one of those moments where I handled things poorly. I don't think divorcing her after over a decade together over the last month is a good idea. On the other hand, I know that because it's not a safe place for my mental health, I'll be staying at my parents' house until we work this out. Could it be hormones? Yes, it could. However, my wife's been on hormones because she had a medical procedure done in her early 30s. As I said, having kids wasn't in the cards for us. She has to go to the doctor every 6 months to check her levels. Her last appointment was in March. However, these mood swings started before that. Mental health issues? This is what I personally think it is. As I said, Grace has been burning out for a while. These mood swings started a long time ago, which is why I brought up taking a break from work. That's why I brought it up again last month when she blew up at me. I think it's the stress. That's why I haven't really contacted a lawyer. Because I hope my marriage can be saved. I think I just want some reassurance from a neutral third party because I'm out of my depth here. To those saying don't drag my mom into this, my mom's already involved. She and Grace are incredibly close. She calls Grace every day to check on her. Grace has no contact with her own family. So I'm not really dragging my mom in much by asking her to suggest marriage counseling the next time she calls. I definitely don't want any other parties involved, so I won't be contacting a friend to talk to my wife. I haven't contacted my wife since I left. I should have clarified that. She texts me. Sometimes it's silly stuff we always talked about, like random memes she finds or dumb things her coworkers are doing. And sometimes she's begging me to tell her the truth. I'm mentally exhausted from all of this, and at the end of my rope. I've suggested therapy several times already, but it's gone nowhere. Hopefully my mom bringing it up might help. Why the throwaway? Because my coworkers also have Reddit accounts, and I don't want them seeing this post. They might hopefully think a 40-something software guy with a nurse wife is generic enough in the American audience not to know it's me. But if this were on my main account, they'd definitely figure it out. No one at work knows, and I want to keep it that way. I think that's everything. Though I want to add, please don't trash my wife. I'm upset over this because my wife is a wonderful woman. She's smart, she's funny, she's sweet. She's a great mother, and that's why I've been so worried about her these past few months. Because this is so out of character. Additional information. Yeah. I'd love to tell you why she thinks I'm cheating, but she really won't tell me. If it's because I'm on my computer too much, or I use my phone weirdly, or I take calls at odd hours, I don't know. She won't tell me why she thinks I'm cheating. And that's the worst part of all this. At least then I could figure out what I need to change. Maybe I'm not being affectionate enough. Maybe I'm not planning enough dates. Maybe she feels like I'm distant. But I don't know. And I want to know. I love my wife. I've loved my wife since our second date. I knew I wanted to marry her after the first month. This isn't a fight over me not doing the dishes right or her watching the rest of the Fall of the House of Usher without me. She's accusing me of cheating on her, and she won't tell me why. And I can't fix what I don't know. And because I don't know, you don't know either. If you can track down my wife and get her side of the story, pass it along to me. I want to hear her side too. Quick update, August 4, 2024, 5 days later. I don't have the energy or patience to go back to Am I the Asshole, so I'll just do this here. A quick and dirty update. No. My wife isn't cheating on me. As far as I know, she's not sick, has no tumors, and shows no signs of early onset dementia. If she did, that would be easier to deal with. Maybe it's perimenopause or menopause, I don't know. I don't care. Yes, I will be seeking a divorce. No, I'm not going to go into it further. I've talked to a lawyer. Maya is currently staying with me and my parents. I'll be looking for an apartment/condo to rent soon. I feel like I've overstayed my welcome. Maya is thinking about taking a break for a while to visit her dad. I don't blame her. I'm a mess right now. I don't even know why I logged back into this account other than to say no. My wife isn't actually cheating on me. I can honestly say I wish she were. It'd be a hell of a lot easier than this shit. Thanks for the advice and concern. I don't know what to do. August 7, 2024, 3 days later. I apologize if this isn't the right community, but a friend suggested it, and I thought maybe this would be the right place to vent or get advice or something. I'm not sure what information is necessary or relevant, so I'll just write down everything I can think of. I've been married to my wife Grace for 13 years. We've been together for 16 years. When we first met, she told me she had little/no contact with her family. There was some obvious trauma associated with it, and as someone with PTSD, I respected that she might not be ready to share it. Plus, my family loved her, so I was happy to share. After dating for a while, just before I proposed, she told me more about her family. Grace comes from a deeply fundamentalist Christian family. I know the umbrella thing was a big deal as well as marrying young and a lot of really messed up stuff. She got married at 16 to the son of a family friend. He was 19. She was pretty lucky in some ways because her ex-husband moved her across the state and away from the family, and she was able to finish high school and start college. From what I can gather, he wanted out of the cult too. She had their daughter, Maya, when she was 21, and he was finishing his last year of school. When he finished, he went to grad school in Europe, and she moved back in with her family. They divorced shortly after. After the divorce, her family tried to marry Grace off to a guy twice her age, which was the final straw for her to divorce them too. From what she told me, it wasn't an easy out. There was a lot of violence involved, and she suspects there was SA/attempted kidnapping from the older man. But she eventually got out. She took her daughter, moved in with a distant aunt, and cut off most of her family. A few years later, she met me, and the rest was history. Until this year. My wife has been irritable, snapping out of nowhere and withdrawing these past few months. She's a nurse, and at first I thought she was just burned out. She's been working non-stop for days on end during the pandemic. I figured the trauma of that and the constant strain of COVID had finally reached its peak, and I suggested a few times that maybe she should take a break for a while. The last time I suggested that, she blew up at me and started accusing me of cheating. It was an intense fight. She said she had proof, and I wanted to see it. She threw my laptop, and I left. We fought again a little while later over the phone, and she said she'd send the evidence of my infidelity to a lawyer, and I said to send it to me too. Since then, we've mostly talked via text, and mostly it's been her sending me work updates or silly memes. Occasionally, she begs me to tell her the truth about cheating, but I have no idea what she's talking about. For the past few weeks, I've been waiting to see what evidence she has, for her to talk to me more than just a few memes here and there, anything. I'm living with my parents, and it's stressful. I figured I'd never know what was going on until a few days ago, when she came over to my parents' house to talk. And she finally let me know that her proof of me cheating was a coworker telling my wife that she'd seen me with a much younger woman. Okay, I can handle that. I asked a few follow-up questions. What did she look like? Where was this, etc.? I quickly realized she was talking about Maya. Sometimes we'd go to the hospital to have lunch with her, and her coworker had definitely seen us together. Simple mistake, right? Except my wife knew her coworker was describing Maya and more or less assumed I was cheating on her with the daughter I've helped raise and who calls me dad. I tried not to get angry because I know she has a lot of trauma over older men being with younger women, especially after what her parents tried to force her into. But at the same time, I felt disgusted and betrayed that she would even think I'd do that, and the conversation turned into another argument. During that argument, she admitted it wasn't a coworker at all, it was her cousin Shelia. And Shelia is still in the church. It started to come out that she'd been hanging out with Shelia in her spare time. She'd been calling and talking to her dad, the man who tried to marry her off to someone older than I am now. She'd been going to group meetings at the church again while I thought she was at work. And you know what? The church stuff wouldn't be an issue. If she wanted to be a Christian, fine, whatever. Except everything she's saying contradicts everything else she says. First, it's clear I'm in the prime age for kids. I'm 44. I'm past my prime for kids. Maya's 21, and I'm happy she's living at home, but I'm also happy she can clean her own bathroom. Because my dad is a secular Jew, he's evil, and that evil's been passed on to me. My mom's even worse because she was a Christian, as she really never was. Her family wasn't Catholic, and I'm not sure she ever attended Mass, but she turned her back on the church and didn't raise me Christian, which is wicked. My mom, a woman who loves my wife maybe even more than I do, is now a sinner and a liar, according to my wife. But most of all, the thing that made me the sickest and pushed me to actually call a lawyer was her insinuation that our daughter, an amazing kid who loves her mom dearly, is at fault because she's young and flaunting herself. It's all a mess in my head. There's so much more. She went on like that for hours before I finally asked her to leave. I'm not a good provider because she has to work. I know I reminded her that I've been offering for her to quit, but apparently that's evidence I'm just trying to isolate her from her family. There were so many damn tangents and conspiracies. Like suggesting therapy to her, which I've been doing since before the pandemic, but especially after, means I'm trying to brainwash her into accepting that I'm cheating on her with Maya. I don't understand any of this. I don't know where to go from here. I don't even know where to start. That night, after my wife left, Maya called crying because her mom had said some really awful things to her. So I told Maya to come stay with my parents and me, and that just added fuel to the fire, so now Grace thinks we're shacking up together. I've called a lawyer, and I think my marriage is over, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where the fundamentalist stuff begins and the conspiracy ends, and I don't even know what I can do to fix anything. I don't know that I can fix anything. I don't even know how I missed everything falling apart this badly. I'm a little drunk, bear with me. August 11, 2024, 1 week later. I met with my wife earlier today. Wanted to sit down and start talking about what our divorce would look like. We have over a decade of finances, a house, our lives intertwined. I've paid for Maya's schooling. Her job is where we get most of our insurance. I put the down payment on our house, but she's paid it down equally to what I have. We'll have lawyers do all this, but at the same time I just wanted to look at her and let her know what she's doing. Divorce isn't just a word, it's a real, concrete thing. The life we've been living is ending as we know it. We're not old, it's not impossible to move on, but at the same time I've been her husband for so long that without her, I don't know who I am. When I got home, I started drinking and haven't stopped all evening. It was stupid, don't do what I did. I just couldn't stop. I kept seeing her there, sitting across from me. Refusing to look at me, I don't know her anymore. And I'm not sure I ever did. My therapist talks about masking, right? Because PTSD and ADHD and all that shit. I mask a lot with coworkers, clients, whatever, but I never had to mask at home. And now I'm wondering if this whole marriage she's just been masking being happy with me. Was she miserable this whole time? Did she pick me because I was stable and a good dad to Maya? I'm not ugly, but I'm not handsome either. Our sex life was good, but was it? Did she do it because she was taught all that bullshit about how she has to please her husband when she was a kid? I feel sick. I feel like I abused her because I don't know how much of it was her, and how much was just the program she got run through in that goddamn church. And Maya's just, she's not great. She's trying her hardest to be resilient and strong, but she's my little girl. I taught her how to fish, and she's better at it than I am. She taught me how to crochet when I was struggling with work during the pandemic and wrestling with lockdowns. She's an incredible kid, and she's hurting, and I hate Grace for that. I hate her for hurting our kid. But I love her. And that hurts too. I don't know what the hell that means. I've gone back to reading the theories about her cheating on me or it being menopause. I think what we have is fixable. I think if I tried, we could turn things around. And it's just over. It's so final. Take it as a lesson, sometimes things just end. And there's nothing any of us can do about it. Hi everyone, Peter here. Welcome. We share real stories from real people. Let's start with the first story. My husband had one last date with his ex-girlfriend a week before we got married, just to be sure. His ex was always seen as the one who got away by everyone around. He ended things because he didn't see a future with her, but everyone was shocked because she was too good and beautiful. Then we met, and I quickly realized that everyone on his side still liked her better. I even overheard some people calling me Camilla, even though I wasn't older or any less attractive, in my opinion. I prefer my looks, even if I don't tick all the beauty boxes like being tall, blonde, blue-eyed, etc., as he sold me out to be. But he never gave me any reason to doubt him. He made me feel like he knew exactly what he wanted. He was secure enough in himself that he told me he loved me a few months into our relationship, and I never felt like he was lying or that I wasn't enough. He was fully aware of what people thought about him leaving his ex, and he made it seem like he thought they were silly and immature. He told his mother that I was the one he had chosen, and if she wanted to be part of that, she needed to improve her behavior. We got married 3 years ago, and now I find out he went on a date with his ex a few days before our wedding. He wanted to make sure she wasn't the one who got away, as everyone around him thought. He wanted to be 100% certain. His mother happily told me this when she visited our newborn daughter, looking at her and saying she wondered what would have happened if he had changed his mind after that date, and now she would be visiting their child. My husband's and the one who got away's child. With a sigh but a smile on her face. You know what I mean? I haven't spoken to him for a week, and I hate the silent treatment, but I can't talk to him. This isn't something I'm doing to punish him, or manipulate him, or gain the upper hand and control him. I just can't look at him or talk to him. Am I the asshole for the silent treatment? Edit, he was there when it happened. He told his mom to shut up. Later, he admitted he went on the date and confirmed the reason his mom told me was true. Related comments. Jayed 27, he also slept with her just to be sure. Did he try having a baby with her just to make sure? What the hell? What kind of ridiculousness have I been reading lately? Your husband is an and your MIL is right there with him. I can't believe he did that and actually told people. OP, he says he didn't sleep with her. 2.0, can you stay with a family member or a friend? Having some space will help you make better decisions. OOP, it's not fair to take our daughter away from him. He's just as new to parenting as I am, and I'm not going to take away his time with her. She's 10 days old, so you understand he's going to want to be with her all the time. We're both obsessed with her. Drumode, it sounds like you don't even know what happened that day, do you? I mean, you could let your husband explain and spend the rest of his life proving to you that you were always his first choice. And one way he needs to do that is by getting his meddling mom out of your life. OOP, I'm never going to be sure, am I? I'll only have his word and his mom's word, and they match in saying he wanted to make sure he made the right decision. I bet if there was anything else, his mom wouldn't hesitate to tell me all the hurtful details, but she said it was because he wanted to be sure. Anything about his ex rejecting him or me being a backup is just speculation in the comments, probably to add insult to injury. Some people thrive on seeing the hurt get hurt even more. Commenter, does OOP believe her husband about the whole situation? OOP, I don't know. I asked him, and he strongly denies it, but he confessed everything else. I honestly believe if he did, his mom would make sure I knew to get rid of me. So that's why I don't know. Her not rubbing it in my face is my truth. Personal Craft 808, so he told his mom to get her act together. Clearly, she hasn't. She's hurt you and possibly caused irreparable damage to your relationship. How is he handling that? I'm so sorry this is happening to you. Please take care of yourself and your daughter. OOP, he told her never to contact him again. I was putting the baby to sleep when they had a fight in the kitchen, and he told her never to contact us again. She left. New update. My husband and I talked. He did most of the talking, and I listened. I asked him for the honest truth. He said he got cold feet. He was panicking about why no one else saw what he saw. He showed me messages from his family and friends leading up to our wedding, with people asking him why he was doing this, and if he was really sure. His sister said he was making a huge mistake. However, after the wedding, everyone stopped and basically told him they respected his decision, even if they couldn't understand it. I never felt they liked me, but I noticed they were less harsh and rude after we got married. But from now on, less rude is no longer good enough for me. The date was dinner and wine. He realized it was wrong as soon as he sat down, but didn't want to leave because it would have been weird and rude to ditch her when he was the one who planned the dinner. He didn't tell me because he knew I would cancel the wedding and thought it would be blown out of proportion. He didn't want to hurt me. He said he's loved me since the day we met, and that has never changed. We're going NC with his sister, his mom, and most of his friends and family. His decision, not mine. His dad genuinely loves me. I have no problem having him in our lives. We're not okay. I told him I need time because we can't make any decisions right now, and for now, we need to focus on our baby. I don't want us to miss out on her first weeks. There's something new with her every day, and I don't want us to miss that. I don't want this experience tainted by heartbreak. I don't want to miss out on the joy my child has brought into my life. I see therapy and counseling in the future, just not right now. I don't want that. Then we either become stronger, or we break apart. I'm 3 years older than my husband and 8 years older than my ex-husband. To those who called me ugly and jealous I say, so what? Not every girl dreams of being tall and blonde. Not every man wants tall and blonde. Only incels think Stacy is the goal and nothing else matters. They broke up because my husband didn't develop feelings for her. When he realized that wasn't happening, he ended things because he was looking for love. So no, I'm not a backup, even though many in my previous post thought calling me a backup to add insult to injury was a good idea. What kind of satisfaction do you get from that? Related comments. Catstaffer 329. Wow, that's a brutal blow at a vulnerable time. Was he right in thinking that if he had told you then, you would have canceled the wedding? That's a reasonable question because it might help you determine where you stand now. Just remember, if the marriage isn't working for you for any reason, you can become amicable co-parents. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I'm so glad you have a child to love and cherish. I wish you peace and happiness ahead. OP, I definitely would have canceled the wedding. Open Incident 3601. Even if you forgive him for hiding that from you, it's clear he didn't hide it from his mom. He clearly discussed the date with her. She knew during the wedding, she knew every time you saw her. He armed your enemy, and she used it against you when you were most vulnerable with your newborn. OP, she suggested he see his ex. I don't know why she never told me before. She never liked me. She had the chance to tell me before the wedding, and we would have called it off. I will never get over that. Process 7331. Out of curiosity, do you know why so many people from his side opposed him dating you? Looks. Money? Does he look like Superman, and you look like a fat slob drug addict? I could understand one or two shallow idiots, but a lot. OP, I guess they think no one leaves his ex for someone like me. His sister was best friends with the ex, so I get her. The rest, I don't understand. Hi everyone, Peter here. Welcome. We share real stories from real people. Let's start with the first story. Am I the asshole for divorcing my husband because he wanted a son in his life? My husband and I have been married for 2 years. About 6 months ago, one of his friends called him and told him about their son. After a DNA test, my husband was confirmed as the father of the child. The boy is 5 years old, and we've been together for 4 years, so it doesn't look like he cheated. He agreed to meet his son, and they got along great. They've spent a lot of time together, and the mother is happy to let her son connect with his father. But here's the thing, we both agreed to live a child-free life. Neither of us wanted kids. He even had a vasectomy, and I had my tubes tied. We talked about it, and he said that it's his responsibility to take care of his child, and he hoped I could support him, but I don't want the life of a stepmom. This may seem cruel, but I can't stand kids. My husband knows this about me. I didn't dare force him to choose between me and his child, but this is not the life I signed up for. I haven't told him yet, but I've already spoken to a lawyer. I don't know, I just don't know what to do here. Am I the asshole with no consensus? OOP receiving mixed reactions. Related comments. Commenter, no, but what did you expect to happen when he found out he had a child? Did you expect him to be a deadbeat dad? Let this man go. OOP, I didn't know what I expected, but at least I wanted to try and adapt to this, but I can't. Nyan Kitty 666, there are no kids here. Circumstances have changed. Although he didn't want to be a father, now he is one. If you don't want to be married to a father and become a stepmom, you can live separately for 13 years or get a divorce. Just know that your husband won't be as available, and his finances and plans, college milestones, will always include his son now. I feel bad for both of you. I wish you the best with whatever you decide. OP, I know. He's been so busy lately that we barely have time to talk. Mustang 19,671,967. Do what's best for you, but good for your husband for stepping up and acting like a man. Don't forget he'll be paying child support too, so you'd better file soon or that might affect your divorce. OP, if you're talking about child support or property, don't worry. We don't own a house, we're currently renting. We were planning to buy a house, but then his situation happened. Any other assets will be easy to split, and I earn about the same as him, so I don't need alimony. Commenter, OP, if she has a relationship with her husband's son. OP, the boy and I guess you could say we get along okay. I feel like he can sense my discomfort with the situation, and I try to smooth that over. I've tried to welcome him into our home, but honestly, he's more excited to hang out with his dad. The baby's mom doesn't seem to like me much. She's not outright hostile, but she tends to ignore me and always seems to be on guard around me. She hadn't reached out because she never knew my husband's full name until recently when she happened to find him on social media. They haven't gone to court to officially set up child support terms, but my husband is currently paying for many of the child's needs. The baby's mama doesn't seem to need much money because I think her family is wealthy. Update 1. So I talked to my husband to clear some things up. My husband wants to spend as much time with his son as possible. He even mentioned wanting half custody and having him live with us. So it's not just about spending a day or two with him. He wants to be as close to a full-time parent as possible. Yes, our vows included no kids. It wasn't part of the wedding speech, but we had several long conversations about children. This was something we promised each other, so yes, no kids were part of our vows. I don't like kids and don't want anything to do with raising one, but it's not like I scream at every child I meet. I guess you could say I hate the responsibility of raising a child, as opposed to hating the child itself. Yes, I would stay with my husband if he had an accident and became disabled. See, I love and admire my husband, and I'm willing to work for him, but only for him. Adding someone else into our lives is a different story. I can't love his child. I can't be a good stepmom. I love my husband, but I don't love his child. Back to my husband. He almost blew me off again because he's so tired from work and spending time with his son. But I stood my ground, and I told him I don't want to live like this. We talked, and he said he can't abandon his child, and that's something he won't compromise on. He said he will see him as much as possible, and he said he needs to prioritize his child's well-being over anything else, including our relationship. I told him I don't want to live like this, and he said he's not budging on this. We both agreed that we should separate for a while. Neither of us explicitly mentioned divorce, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're headed. I feel empty, angry, and frustrated. I know my husband isn't at fault. I know the child isn't at fault. But my life just keeps changing too much. Related comments. Throw RA 71,312. I hate to say this, but this isn't a sustainable situation. He wants the child. You don't. Why drag this out? Go ahead and resolve it amicably so you both can move on. I'm sorry it turned out this way, but as you said, it's no one's fault. It's just one of those curveballs life throws at us. My deepest sympathies for the situation you're in. Best wishes with whatever you decide to do. OP, logically, I know you're right. I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around anything. Anything that would make me, him, and the child happy. OP about how the child's mother found her husband. OP, she claims she could never find him. They didn't exchange phone numbers or last names. She only happened to find him through Instagram. Far prior 1058, I don't see a solution to this problem. Maybe you need to end it before you both become too bitter. End it on a note that allows you both to remain friends. Good luck. Update 2. It's official! We're getting divorced. It wasn't even me who brought it up, it was my husband. He said if I can't support and care about his son, then we can't be together. I've moved out, and while part of me is hoping to find some way to make it work, I think I know this was inevitable. So, it's official. I'm losing my husband. And he's going on to be a father. Honestly, as long as I get the car and the money in the bank account that I earn myself, we have separate accounts, I won't fight him. I'm willing to let him have anything at our old place. Honestly, I don't know what to do now. Other than go through the divorce proceedings. I just don't know what to do with myself now. My whole life was going to be with my husband. Now he's gone. Related comments. OP about who gets the house after the divorce is finalized. OP, we were renting, we were planning on buying one, but then this whole thing started. The dwarf money. The real is the woman who didn't tell him he had a child 5 years ago, before you got married. It's best to go your separate ways, wishing you the best in healing and the future. I'm sure you'll find love again. Happy Communication 67. Wow, honey, things will get better. Life is taking you on separate paths, but neither of you is at fault. Give yourself time to grieve your relationship and heal. You know what you want in life, and in time you'll find someone who shares that. Best wishes. Notice Betiasa wanted. I don't think op is ta. Everyone has their own perspectives and boundaries. Op and her husband agreed to be child-free. The husband's heart melted when he saw his son. Good for him. But Op not wanting anything to do with it is also okay. Op knows she doesn't want kids because she can't care for them better than half the people out there who have kids and then abandon them physically and emotionally. She has her priorities, one of which was her husband, who is now leaving her because his son is now his top priority. Again, not a bad thing. All I'm saying is she has her priorities, he has his. Just because Op's priorities upset many of you doesn't mean she's ta. They're both doing what they believe is best for themselves.